2008. It's the first round of the NCAA tournament in Tampa. Number 12 seed Western Kentucky is taking on 5 seed Drake, and the game was a barn burner. These two teams combined to attempt a record 70 three-pointers. 6 seconds left and Drake has a 1-point lead. It's 99-98. Western Kentucky inbounds the ball. Their point guard races up court. He dribbles into traffic and then he kicks the ball out so far onto the wing that the player he's passing to is practically standing out of bounds. He catches the pass and heaves a desperation three-pointer that drops at the buzzer. And then this player flies around the court with his arms spread wide like he's a bird. You remember that? That player was Ty Rogers from Eddyville, Kentucky, a 1995 Hoop Shoot champion. Now, as a proud graduate of the Harvard of the Midwest, it truly pains me to sing the praises of basketball players from Kentucky. But here's another one. Chris Snopek, 1983 champion from Cynthiana. He later went on to play for the White Sox and the Red Sox. We are standing before the wall of Hoop Shoot champions in the basement of the Elks Veterans Memorial. And if you look at these champions, and really if you look at all of our national finalists, you're going to find a lot of athletes who went on to distinguish themselves in men's and women's sports at the collegiate and professional levels, both as players and as coaches. But you're going to find many more examples of hoop shooters who have excelled in other walks of life. Doctors, lawyers, business people, the arts, trades, military officers, teachers. That's because the Hoop Shoot isn't a sports program. It's a youth development program that uses sports as a vehicle to teach and reinforce skills and values that will serve these kids on and off the court for the rest of their lives. Things like practice, goal setting, working hard to achieve those goals, perseverance, handling pressure, and most important, learning how to bounce back from failure. Those are key components to what's called grit. You don't have to take my word for this. Tonight's show is all about the Hoop Shoot, and we're going to hear from some former national finalists. Listen to what they have to say. They might use different words, different terms, but the meaning is the same. They're telling you exactly what I just did. The Hoop Shoot develops grit, which is the best indicator for future success. So for tonight's show, why don't you step up with me to the free throw line and let's watch the Hoop Shoot show. So welcome everybody to the 4th installment of our summer series. They're adding up, right?
Summer's flying by.
Now, if you're just joining us now, you've missed 3 really great shows. The summer series kickoff, which featured our top 2 most valuable student scholarship winners, our $50,000 scholarship winners. Then we had a wonderful seminar about social media. It was a great introduction and presented some really practical and useful ideas of ways that you can leverage social media to promote your lodge.
Yep.
And then, of course, our last episode was called The 2 Grands, in which we entered our junior past national president and our current national president, Bob Dutzman and Paul Ryan.
That's right. That was really fun.
Now, tonight's show is all about the Hoop Shoot. It's the Hoop Shoot show.
The Hoop Shoot show. Here we are. So, the Hamper Hoop Shoot. Our viewers may recall that we debuted your Hamper Hoop Shoot video.
I would argue that it's actually Patrick's Hamper Hoop Shoot video, but yes.
Really? Okay, Patrick's Hamper Hoop Shoot video, yes, because he obviously nails it. But throughout the show, you'll be seeing some of the entries that we've received during the summer. The deadline was July 31st, and we picked some of the best ones, and we're going to show them to you tonight.
Today, we're going to talk about what's next for the program, how the program is going to move forward in 2021. We're also going to talk with the chairman of the advisory committee for the Hoop Shoot, and we're going to speak with some former participants.
Yeah, got a big show ahead.
Now, for those who don't know, the Hoop Shoot is a youth program, a free throw contest, and it started actually in 1946 in Corvallis, Oregon, when a man named Frank Heiss, an elk named Frank Heiss, was walking past a playground and saw a basketball game going on. And Frank was not a tall man, but he had a big personality. And he was also kind of bossy, as a lot of the past grands are, let's be honest. And he saw this game happening, and there were some smaller kids who were on the sidelines because they couldn't compete. They weren't big enough, they weren't fast enough, and they weren't strong enough to play with the bigger kids. And Frank didn't like that, so he stopped the game. And he instead lined the kids up for a free throw contest in which everybody could participate.
Great equalizer, huh?
Exactly. It's free throws level the playing field, right? Nobody can guard against a free throw shot. You're at the free throw line, and it's just you and the ball in the net, and yeah, and that was the very first Hoop Shoot contest right there.
Humble beginnings.
Right. The program grew. It took off. Clearly, he was onto something. And then by 1972, it became a national program, and we've been holding national finals every year since then until 2020.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Well, why don't we start by talking to Jim Grillo? He is both the chair of the ENF Board of Trustees, and he is the chair of the Hoop Shoot Advisory Committee. So let's talk to him.
Let's bring out Jim. All right, Jim, you're going to know all the answers to the questions.
Want to bet?
Debbie, we have been joined by Jim Grillo in Linden, California.
Hi, Jim. Hi, Debbie. Good to be with you.
How have you been doing, Jim?
Oh, we're doing fine. We're out here in Linden, little farming community, staying home, staying safe, and watching the trees grow.
So Jim, of course, is the past national president of the Elks, and I think it's always fun when talking to a past national president to get a feel for how you got involved in the Elks in the first place. Now, your father was an active Elk, right?
My dad was very active Elk. My dad, my mother, of course. I grew up in the Elks. My father and mother taking me to the Elks Lodge when I was very young. Worked on the bingo before I was even 21. I totally grew up in the old Stockton Elks Lodge, yes.
Wow. And you joined, am I correct that you joined the Elks during a break from college when you were back home?
Yeah, I was away at college. I had a break and came home and joined the Elks. If I remember properly, it's been so long now, it was 1976.
Wow. And did you get involved right away, or did that come later?
No, I'll be very honest. I joined the Elks and I went back to college and graduated, came back home, and I was an Elk member the whole time, but I didn't become real involved until later on. Of course, I did go to many meetings with my father. I'd go out and we'd socialize, have dinner, we'd do the meetings. Dad was very active, so I was always there, always knew the people, but I wasn't per se real involved. Be very honest, I was doing what young people do.
Sure. Absolutely.
And that's called having fun.
Right. So at what point did the national presidency seem like something that was a realistic goal for you?
Well, it's interesting. You say goal. I don't know if I ever really set it as a goal. To be honest, I became involved in the Elks at the passing of my father because it was a way of, him and I still being together. And it wasn't until a couple of years into that I thought, well, this just might happen. And sooner in the end did happen.
As they say, the rest is history, right?
The rest is history.
The rest is history, good or bad. You're stuck with me.
So what was that year as Grand like for you on the road with Lucia? I know it's a lot of travel, but also being feted that way all across the country and getting to see everything that the Elks are doing and meet so many people must be.
I'll be flat honest with you. It was fantastic. I enjoyed it completely. I know Lucia did too. We would leave home every Wednesday night, basically. We would drive to the airport, spend a night in the hotel, get up usually at 3:30 in the morning, go to the airport, catch a flight, fly to wherever we were going, and we would be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then we would fly home Sunday. I do Elks stuff in the office Monday and Tuesday, and then we'd start all over on Wednesday again to travel. That's on the short trips. We did have many long trips that went. We had one that we were gone 20 days out of the month, you might say. So it was wonderful. You become very tired, yet the minute you get where you're going and you meet the Elks, they bring you back to life. And it was one of the most exciting times in my lifetime, let's put it that way, seeing all the different programs and everything.
Yeah.
I bet it's got to be a lot of fun. I mean, it sounds exhausting, but a lot of fun.
So Jim, tonight's show is going to be all about the Hoop Shoot. And what people might not know about you is that you were an athlete. You played baseball at the collegiate level. If I'm not mistaken, you were a pitcher, right?
I was a pitcher. Yeah. I love baseball. Grew up loving it more than anything. Let's put it this way, spent more time on the baseball diamond than I did chasing girls. That's how much I liked it. Played Little League, Babe Ruth, Joe DiMaggio, college, semi-pro, so on and so on. Just enjoyed it completely. And then there came a time, we played a doubleheader, and I picked up both ends of that game because they needed, well, we didn't have closers or any, we just said, okay, this guy's run out of gas, get in there, Jim. And the second game that night, we were playing in a very old stadium, all made out of wood, looked like something Babe Ruth would have played in. And anyway, played, finished that game, 3 innings, everything went great. I even got a hit that night, which pitchers usually don't do. And went home the next day. I woke up and I got up to shave, and my arm was 3 times its normal size and turned blue. Ooh. And needless to say, I went to a family friend who was a physician. He took one look at me, and I ended up in the hospital for weeks. And I had pinched the main artery, and I had a blood clot in my arm. And back then, basically, they thinned the blood down and they tied you down, because if it moved, your history. But I got through it.
Wow.
Ooh.
So needless to say, that ended your sports career.
Yep, that sure did. They said if I wanted to try and pitch again, I could, but more than likely it would happen again. There would be permanent damage, and they couldn't guarantee anything. So that was the end of my sporting career. And I guess you'd say I moved on to other things then.
Well, let me ask you, are there times when you regret that you can't rear back and throw a pitch that knocks somebody off the plate?
Oh, yes.
Let me ask you this. Did, your career ended earlier than you wanted it to, your baseball career, but what about like the things you learned as a youth athlete? Were there lessons that stuck with you and maybe are still with you, things that applied to your life off the field?
Oh, absolutely. I always related back to when I was playing Little League Baseball. We lost more games than we won. And I have just come to the conclusion that in athletics, unless you perhaps are Tom Brady and played for the New England Patriots, you're going to lose more games than you're going to win sometimes. I learned that you always do your best. You never give up. You wait for the last out. And once you lose, it was ingrained in me that you should be a good loser. You take the good and the bad and accept it and bring that into life with you also, that there's good and there's bad in life, and you're not always going to be a winner, but you can be a champion by continuing on and doing your very best.
Right. So I think that's a nice transition to the Hoop Shoot. One of my favorite things about the Hoop Shoot is that it forces the competitors, most of them, at the end of the Hoop Shoot season, there are only 6 winners, right? Everybody else is lost. It forces all those competitors to confront losing and failure, and how do you bounce back from that?
You know, it's interesting. In today's society, a lot of times they don't want to use the word losing. Well, I'll tell you, losing is part of life, and it's a wonderful experience if you look at it in the proper way. You can lose the game one day and you can win at life the next day. I've seen at the finals of the Hoop Shoot, I've seen children, excuse me, I've seen children sitting and crying because they missed. And then I've seen Elks walk out and put a hand on their shoulder and a family come to their side. That's what winning is truly about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true.
So speaking of winning, Jim, your time on the ENF board is almost over. You have 2 years left, and just including one more year as the chair. And it's been really a great experience getting to know you better and working with you these past 9-10 years. How do you want to be remembered? How would you like your time on the ENF board to be remembered?
A friend of my father's once said that you can accomplish a lot if you don't worry about who gets the credit. The Elks members of the ENF don't need the credit. What we need is the support and the help from the membership, giving of themselves, their time, their efforts, and their money so that these programs can go forward, so that they can help the veterans, so they can do our drug awareness program, so they can do our scholarship program, so we can do the Hoop Shoot program that reaches more families in Elkdom than any other program we have. To be remembered, I'll be remembered by my family. The Elks needs to be remembered by its members, and it needs to carry on into the future.
Well, Jim, thank you for your leadership. That's wonderful, and words that we should all keep close to our hearts and in our minds. So thank you for that.
Oh, thanks.
And we want to thank you for taking the time out and joining us tonight, and talking a little bit about your past and your career in the Hoop Shoot.
No, I appreciate it. And when this is done now, I'm going to go out and I'm going to play a little one-on-one basketball. And I'm really doing good because of the virus. One-on-one basketball, they can't get within 6 feet of me, and I'm hitting baskets that I never dreamed were possible. Yeah, no. So there's good in everything.
That's looking at the silver lining.
That's right, silver lining.
Thanks so much, Jim, and stay safe.
Thanks, Jim. Tell Chia we said hello, okay?
Yeah.
I will do that. And I just got to say, we haven't been able to see each other for a while. The two of you look great, and you've just always been so kind and so helpful to me. And I can't thank you enough for everything you've done. So just thank you very much.
Thank you. Jim Grillo. He's the best.
He is the best. That's quite a mustache.
That's quite a mustache, indeed.
No, Jim reflected on his sports career and how it ended before he wanted it to.
Yeah.
But he also talked about some of the lessons that he learned as a young athlete and how those translate today. We want to share with you next one of our favorite Griddios from our Griddio series. If you're not familiar, these are videos with national finalists and their families in which they talk about the things they've learned in their own words through the Hoop Shoot, right?
Right, it's something we do. We've been doing it since 2014, right? Sitting down with families and just talking to them about what their experience has been and what their takeaways are.
Now, Griddio, because, from grit, because the program develops grit and video. Put it together and you've got Griddio. You should check out, if you haven't already, you should go to our playlist on YouTube. We have all of our Griddios right there. We want to show you one of our favorites. It features the Midget family from Kentucky. They are a brother and sister, and both were national finalists in 2016 when the program first moved to Chicago. Let's take a watch at this classic Griddio.
13-year-old Jackson Midget may just be the best free throw shooter in the state, if not for his 9-year-old sister Justice.
Well, out of all the years they've been doing this competition, me and my sister are the first ones to make it to the nationals together as a brother and sister, so I think it's pretty cool.
So she has pushed him, and he has pushed her, and so he's not as worried about maybe his opponent as he is beating his little sister.
I'm really competitive when it comes to him, so Me and my brother, we practice with my dad at the elementary school.
And one of my big words of wisdom is
Work hard, practice a lot.
Don't miss 2 in a row.
sometimes hard to rebound from that.
Be consistent with your shot.
And be like focused.
Also be mental tough. Don't just half do it. Do the best of your ability and give it your all.
You still have a good ones.
Driven. They're both driven. Focus, and I use the word discipline a lot with each of them.
Last year I got second place at state.
When he lost at state, he come out and immediately said, I'm going to go to nationals next year.
I lost by a couple of shots and I was thinking, what if I make those shots? Yeah, this year when I was practicing, I practiced more weekly and took more shots when I practiced.
You know, the discipline it takes to do what they do. I mean, all the kids, not just mine. And the Elks has made that possible. You know, it's more to it than just shooting, you know, a basketball. The way he's worked for this is really gonna take him places in life. I give the Hoop Shoot lots of credit for the way he has improved in school. Really do.
As we get to go new places we've never been and meet new people and become friends.
We've never been to Chicago, so this is our first trip, and we're doing it as a family, and it's thanks. That's what I would say.
To go to Wrigley Field and check out all the great attractions of Chicago.
On the drive up here, my goodness, they were fighting and battling. And I said it had been a hard pill to swallow to drag the other one up here to watch the other one compete. We're fortunate that they're both getting to compete. Anybody considering entering the Hoop Shoot, I would say 150% go for it. We've enjoyed it tremendously anyway.
Okay. Debbie, from one screen to another, it's the Mid-Jets, just bigger than they were a moment ago.
Welcome.
Welcome to the show, you guys. How have you been doing since 2016?
Good. Good. A lot of, still shooting a lot of free throws. You know, I love basketball. So still shooting tons of free throws, yeah.
You know, I am Facebook friends with your mom, so I feel like I've kept track of your sports careers pretty well. But Jackson, we were so pleased to read that when you scored your 1,000th point in high school basketball, it was from the free throw line of all places.
Yeah, it was crazy because I had a chance of hitting a layup for the and one, but I missed an easy layup just to hit the free throw, you know?
Couldn't have planned it any better.
Yeah.
I guess I'd like to know, Justice, once and for all, which one of you is the better free throw shooter?
I don't know. I mean, he has the higher free throw percentage in high school basketball, but I placed higher in the national Elks Hoop Shoot, so I guess
The trophy doesn't lie.
The trophy doesn't lie.
So, I mean, that was one of the themes of that film we did with the Grillo that we did with you guys in 2016, was that you were really motivated to beat your brother and he was motivated not to lose to you. Is that still the case with you guys?
yes, it is. We're still very competitive against each other. So
Yeah, I remember we used to, you know, probably when we practiced for the free throw shoot, we'd always go to the gym and we'd always fight and stuff. And I remember last season we started playing around the world and shooting free throws and stuff, and it was the same stuff, still fall every day.
So
Stuff, you know.
we both have siblings also, and I know that on the surface, Jackson, you had to be happy for your sister when she took second place, but inside it was killing you, wasn't it?
Well, I remember, yeah, she had second place that morning. I was thinking, later on in the afternoon, you know, I got to do the same thing. Either win it. And I remember I was the very first shooter out of 12 shooters, and I hit my first 10. I was thinking, all right, I'm gonna win this. I'm gonna win it again. You know, I'm gonna beat my sister. You know, I'm gonna finally have the one up. And in the last round, I ended up hitting just 10 out of 15. And I'm kind of, still 80%, but not my best.
Yeah. One of the great things about your story, Jackson, was how, was it at the state where you lost the year before by 1 or 2 baskets?
Yeah.
And then you started thinking, what if I work harder? What if I do better? What could have happened if I,
there was this the kid who beat me had won it plenty of years, and after we had this awards banquet, and he had the best attitude award. He got every award, and I was thinking I didn't get one award. I was like, I got to come back and I got to at least get one award. I'm gonna come back and I said, hey, I'm gonna go to nationals. I'm not just going to stay. I'm gonna go to nationals, and that's what I ended up doing. I shot a lot more that year and practiced a lot more.
So looking back, and reflecting on your hoop shoot days, how do you feel what you learned through the hoop shoot applies to your life now?
Well,
It's pushed me to work harder. Like the first time I did it, I lost in Madisonville, which was just like the second stage. But then I went to state, and then the next year I went to regionals, and then I just worked my way up to nationals. So, yeah.
So what's next for you guys? You're about to enter your senior year of high school, Jackson, and you're going to go into freshman year, Justice?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, senior year of high school, I'm going to play golf and baseball and basketball like I have the last 3 years of my high school career, if we can, if the state of Kentucky allows us. And I'm also going to try, after my senior year, I'm going to try to play college basketball. So that's my future plans.
And Justice, what sports are you going to play in high school?
I play basketball and softball. That's it. Mm-hmm.
So you're starting your freshman year, you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to apply for an Elks scholarship, right?
Yeah, yes, ma'am, that's it.
So is there anything that you would like to say to the Elks before we let you go and bring your dad in here to ask a few questions?
The Elks, before I came in, I didn't know all the opportunities I could have. I thought it was just, shooting free throws until, we started winning and we were going to Chicago and they were paying for a lot of things, and so many friendships came out of it. Like we went to our state hoop shoot director's house and stayed the night and swam in his pool, and we came so close with them, and they helped us out so much. And even the scholarship coming out, that's just a big thing that I didn't think I'd have an opportunity at, until we kept on going further in. And so anybody thinking about shooting free throws, I'd definitely do it, because it's a lot more than just shooting free throws. It's friendships, memories.
Yeah, the whole experience is just great. So.
Yeah, I would definitely do it again.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Well, we really appreciate you joining us today and sharing a little bit about your experience. And just like we did 4 years ago, we also want to chat with your dad. So maybe we can bring him out right now.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Good luck to you next year.
Thanks.
Thank you. How you doing?
Shane, thanks for making time to join us. We were just talking with Jackson and Justice about their experience back in 2016 and with the Hoop Shoot program. And, how from the perspective of a parent, how did the Hoop Shoot reinforce the values that you tried to instill in your kids?
Well, I guess most parents, you try to instill hard work, preparation, be dedicated. You got to have some discipline, and then determination, to succeed a little bit. And of course, I guess at a younger age, it's easier to get kids to buy into that when you're talking about sports, or, in this case, the free throw shooting. And, I'll be honest, if you don't have several of those values, you cannot compete at a high level in the Elks hoop shoot. It's not for the faint of heart. 13 or 14 out of 25 won't get you there.
Well, one of the nice thing about the program is it's fun for kids. So they don't necessarily recognize the values that they're learning, but what they can see is that they're getting better because they're practicing. And even the young kids can connect that. And they understand, if I work a little bit harder, if I study more, I can do better on this test. And it translates on and off the court.
Yes, that was the hope. And again, we didn't force ours, practice and to shoot. they did all that on their own because of the hoop shoot. You know, you don't want to, I guess, you know, when you go somewhere and you're competing, you want to do your best no matter what it is. So they really did that on themselves, and they would literally hound me to take them to the elementary school to shoot 4 or 5 times a week. You know, it was never a thing where we were forcing them.
Right.
That's awesome. They spoke so eloquently to it as well in the Griddio back 4 years ago, you know, when they were, what, 9 and 13?
Right.
I still watch that.
That's really incredible. And it's great to see that they still have it and that you guys are still, you know, reflecting on those values and still using those to be successful. So that's great.
We hope they continue to.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm sure they will.
That's what I wanted to ask too, is in the Griddio at one point you say that, you know, you felt like the work ethic that Jackson was developing was starting to translate to the classroom. And was that only happening during the Hoop Shoot years, or has it kept up?
It absolutely has kept on. It, you know, they both want to do the best at whatever they do. So again, the Hoop Shoot enabled them and enabled us to kind of, I guess, not really trick them, but we kind of got them to buy in. And then after that, I mean, he's a 3.7, you know, student in high school and takes honors classes and works hard, not just at the athletic part of it. I mean, he takes the student athlete part serious, and so does Justice. I mean, she's a little bit younger, but they, you know, they deserve all the credit, but I think and I don't know if they were great at the Hoop Shoot because they had those values, or if the Hoop Shoot helped, you know, put those on display, but they were, you know, you can't hide on the Hoop Shoot. You know, when it's your time at the free throw line, you're there. And so it's carried over to the classroom for each of them, and other things outside of school. So I have to give the Hoop Shoot tremendous credit, as well as both of them.
Now, I know you're a proud parent, and I guess I'm a little surprised to only see the one trophy behind you. I would have thought there'd be more trophies out there.
Well, there would have been, but I was getting scolded. I was, you know, they said that's too much, and they just we've got them in a nice case, and it took some doing to get all of them in here, but they thought it was too much, and I mean, really, they are humble. I might not seem very humble, but those guys are.
Shay, maybe you can send us a picture.
Right.
So we can really see it.
Well, I mean, they can do that. We can do that today.
It's hard for parents to be humble. I guess it's more important that our kids are humble.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So can you just think back on that trip to Chicago in 2016, and what did that experience mean to your family?
Well, you know, the trip itself, without the competition and without the Elks, was amazing. Of course, the Elks, the way they treat the kids and the parents and their families and pamper us and spoil us. The trip itself and the sights and the sounds and the attractions of Chicago and everything and different programs and events that the Elks put on for kids was fantastic by itself. So then you throw in the competition, and all of a sudden we've got 2 kids competing, and there's so many other kids up there. Well, I guess every other kid up there, most of them have a sibling that's with them. And, you know, we didn't have to go through that awkward stage of, you know, consoling one while cheering on the other. And that meant a lot. We were really nervous leading up to it because they had put so much time in it. And, you know, we even spoke before and never mentioned it in front of the kids, but, you know, what would we do if only one goes? You know, with the other one, are they going to go with us? Will they stay in school? Thank goodness they just both won. They didn't have to make the decision. We loaded up and went. He missed a baseball game, and he was only a 7th grader, and so what? It was a trip of a lifetime, and we've got memories that we still cherish, and you know, we still look at the videos on YouTube, and we've got photos, and all those memories were made possible by the Elks and the Hoop Shoot, no doubt.
Nice.
Well, Shane, we really appreciate you guys. It was very short notice, just as it was in 2016 when we kind of asked you guys to do the video then. And
if I remember the video then, though, we had literally just got out of Tahoe, 6-hour drive, and so we were kind of you know, blah, and, you know, it's been fun.
Yeah.
But we knew it would be a great story, so we
Right.
appreciate you sharing it then and taking the time now.
Right. And once again, you guys, I don't know what the right expression is, knocked it out of the park, hit the buzzer beater. You delivered, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, we appreciate you guys, everything. Our state directors and local directors, you know, fantastic. We still actually have dinner, you know, when they're down in our area, and they're six hours away from us, but when they're in this area, we have dinner and we keep in touch, and they keep in touch on Facebook. And if one of the kids has a good game, they comment or they contact us and stuff. So it's other than the trophies, other than the great fun you guys put on, we've got lifelong friends out of it that otherwise we wouldn't have had.
Well, we often talk about the Hoop Shoot family, and they're not just words.
That's perfect. Well said. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shane, and best to you and the whole family.
Y'all stay healthy, stay safe.
You too.
Yeah, you
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Elks Hoop Shoot 2020.
So other than the kids are taller, it's like no time has passed between 2016 and 2020. I'm sure I don't look the same as I did back then. They kind of do.
You don't look the same as you did, a couple weeks ago.
That is true. That is true. Wonderful things that they had to say about the program.
I'm so glad we got to sit down with them again.
Right. It was fun to catch up,
Yeah.
and it's fun to hear that the things that they were saying in 2016 are still true 4 years later.
Absolutely.
And if we check in with them again 4 years from now, they'll be true then too.
All right.
Hey, you know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's time to announce the opportunity for our viewers to win a $500 donation to the charity of their choice, whatever you want it to be.
How does one do that?
All you have to do is comment on this episode of the show, and you're going to have to do it tonight on August 9th, because tomorrow on August 10th we will select the winner. And obviously if you comment after that date, you can't win.
Nope.
That's just math. So here's what you need to do. Comment below with the hashtag the Hoop Shoot Show. All right, now I know people who are watching were thinking, okay, well, sure, the mid-yets, those lessons they learned from the Hoop Shoot still resonate. It was only a few years ago.
Only a few years ago.
Right? Not enough time has passed.
Right. Only 4 years.
Okay, you naysayers. This next guest we have competed as a hoop shooter in the early aughts, or the mid-aughts. She was a 3-time national finalist from 2006 through 2008.
Right. 2006, 2007, 2008.
Let's hear what she has to say. Debbie, let's bring out
Lakin Bolts.
Debbie, we are not alone.
No, Jim, we're not alone. Welcome, Lakin.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me today.
Now, Lakin, you're carving some time out for us, and we really appreciate that. You're on your lunch break. What is it you do, and what's that backdrop behind you?
So, as you can see, I am in the NAIA National Headquarters Office, which, for those of you that don't know what the NAIA stands for, it is the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics, and I am downtown Kansas City.
Okay. Now I see you're wearing a Hawkeye shirt. You're an Iowan. You went to University of Iowa.
Go Hawks!
Right.
So I did my undergrad at a small school in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, where I played basketball and tennis at Coe College, and then I went to grad school at the University of Iowa.
Okay.
You just finished up too, didn't you?
Yes, last May. Yep, it was quite interesting into the semester, that's for sure.
Indeed.
So we want to take you a little farther back to your hoop shoot experience. As Debbie said, you were a 3-time national finalist, 06 through 08. Now, were those your first 3 years in the hoop shoot program?
So my first year in the hoop shoot program was actually 2005, and I qualified for districts. And at the districts competition, I actually placed 3rd. And when that happened, I kind of told myself, and as an 8-year-old, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put in the practice, I'm gonna put in the time, and when next year rolls around, I'm gonna make it even further. And 2006 was actually when I ended up winning nationals. So I set my mind to it in 2005 when I placed 3rd, and there we were.
That is a little further. Went as far as you could go in 06. And, you know, we often say that one of the best lessons the Hoop Shoot teaches is how to bounce back from failure. You know, at the end of every Hoop Shoot season, there's only 6 people, 6 champions. Everybody else has to learn to deal with that. And that's exactly what you did in 05 to 06. But thinking back, the next 2 years didn't go quite as well. You made it to the national finals, and I think you were on the podium one of those 3 years. But what do you feel like you learned in your second and third trips to nationals that you maybe missed out by winning it all in that first year?
Yeah, so I mean, as you kind of mentioned there, you learn at an early age how to move forward from failure. And I always say that those 3 years that I did qualify for nationals, all the time in practice that I put in the gym, all the determination and hard work, you really learn, you know, what it takes to accomplish what you want to accomplish. You really learn what it takes when you set your mind that you want to achieve something, what it takes to get there. And as I was a student athlete in college, I always say that I owe that part of me to the hoop shoot. And I luckily learned that at such a young age that I have been able to carry that with me ever since.
So how did you first get involved with the Hoop Shoot?
So my family has always been active members in our Elks back in Keokuk. My grandparents have been members for the longest time. My dad is now still very active. And I just grew up at our Elks. And so at an early age, I was able to find out about the Hoop Shoot, and luckily, you know, it had such an impact on my childhood.
You must have been a star around the lodge when you came home with that big trophy in 2006, huh?
You know, it's so fun to, you know, read back on the newspaper articles, to look back at those memories, and the support that I had from my hometown lodge was outstanding. You know, the whole lodge was just all behind me. We actually had a going away party for my nationals trip in 2006, and then ended up coming back and winning with the trophy. Had a fire truck ride coming into town waiting for me, and you know, like I said, as an 8-year-old or 9-year-old at that time, it's just crazy. You know, I had no idea what was going on, and I was just embracing all of it, and now it's just so fun to look back at.
You know, we were doing a little research for this interview, and we found an interview that you did with your local newspaper after that championship. And I think the reporter asked you, you hit 24 out of 25 to win, and the reporter asked you, you know, what happened on that 25th shot? Do you remember what you said?
So I do remember. You know, I said it's the 11th shot of the 15 that you do. It's always the hardest one. I think if you ask my dad, he can tell you exactly how many 11th shots I made throughout my whole time in the hoop shoot. But you sit down and you know, wait for all those shooters to go take their turns, and then you're sitting through at nationals, like, you know, 11 other people, and I was like, you know, my hands were sweaty. The ball just slipped out of my hands, and whatever. I was sitting there for quite some time, and at 9 years old, I'm like, yeah, my hands were just sweaty. The ball slipped out of my hands. But that 11th shot, it always got me.
Awesome. The honesty of a 9-year-old, huh?
Yes, yeah. Like I said, it's funny to look back at the newspaper articles or the TV interviews from our local station and just laugh at like what 9-year-old Lakin was saying.
Well, you've shared some great memories. Do you have a standout favorite memory?
Oh gosh, you know, qualifying for nationals 3 times and ended up winning it in, you know, my first trip there. I always say it's so cool to make it to the Basketball Hall of Fame. And I know that nationals is not in Springfield anymore, but as my time there, I made it back and I was able to see my name in the Hall of Fame. And, you know, as a child, and again, like I didn't know the significance of it. And, you know, as now that I'm older, I appreciate it so much more. And it's just so cool to look back at the pictures that I have with my name, the pictures that I have at the Hall of Fame. So just to make it back and see my name there on the plaque with the hoop shoot is one of the most standout memories that I have. But also, you know, like all of my grandparents got to make the 3 trips to nationals with my family and I. So that was something that I will always treasure, and I know they can say the same. Just making those family memories, I think while in Springfield one year, we made a trip to Boston. So that's something cool as well that I got to do as a child. But yeah, other than that, just making lifelong friends. I still have friendships, you know, that came from the Hoop Shoot. We still have families that we stay in touch with through social media, and that makes it so much easier. So there's definitely still people that I stay in touch with and that we're in contact with because of the Hoop Shoot.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I have to ask, did you include the fact that you are in the Hall of Fame on your resume?
I don't think so. You know, it's not something that I necessarily like always talk about or like mention to anybody, but then when they do find out, they're like, wait, you didn't tell us this. And I'm like, sorry, it's been a while.
That's a pretty fun fact.
Yeah, good fun fact.
Yeah.
You mentioned that the finals are in Chicago now, not Springfield. But one thing we've started doing since moving to Chicago is that we send our 6 national champions each year to Springfield so that they can see their name in lights at the Hall of Fame.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is awesome. For those who win and do get the opportunity to have their name there, you know, it's just an awesome experience to get to go back and see that. So that's cool that you guys do that.
So another thing that we've started doing since coming to Chicago is the BackBoard Advisory Committee for the program. These are Hoop Shoot alumni who then come and serve for a year, serving as sort of role models and mentors for the national finalists. Now, you were going to debut as a BackBoard member this year. Of course, you're on BackBoard, but unfortunately the finals were canceled. But tell us about what motivated you to apply for the BackBoard and what it means to you to be able to give back in that way.
Yeah, so when I heard about this opportunity, I thought how cool to potentially have the chance, you know, to share my story with those who have made it to nationals. How cool to be able to relate to those kids that have made it that far. And I know how much work it takes. I know how dedicated you have to be at putting in the time to practice and to make it that far. So just to be able to relate to those kids and help them have the experience that I had was something so cool that I was, you know, super excited for. And when I found out that the competition was going to be canceled, you know, I was bummed at first, but hopefully next year rolls around and I'll have the opportunity to make it to Chicago.
So not a lot of hoop shooters do what you did, which was to make it 3 straight years, and coming away with a gold medal and a silver medal is pretty impressive.
Absolutely.
I will add the little tidbit in back for 9-year-old Lakin. When I did make it back to nationals, I think it was my 3rd year back, which, let's see, if you do the years, it's maybe 2009.
2008. Yeah.
2008. I placed 2nd, and my parents always would ask, you know, well, are you okay? Like if you got 2nd? And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm bringing back a different colored trophy. Like that trophy was silver. It wasn't gold like the one I had at home already. So they can love the fact that she was bringing back a different colored trophy.
That's awesome.
Love it.
Collect the whole set.
It was probably almost as tall as you.
It was.
Yeah.
You know, I was always the smallest contestant. I was always the shortest. I think everybody always looked so much older than I was. So the trophy was right up there with me.
I don't remember you being the shortest, but I do remember you being there.
Well,
Jim and I have been.
We were both there for all 3 of those.
For all 3 of those, yeah.
Okay, well, awesome. Yeah, that's great to hear that you guys are still involved in making the impact that you guys are.
Thank you very much.
Well, right back at you. We appreciate that you're still involved with your lodge, and that I think you spoke once at the Region 3 regional contest banquet recently, and you know, now you're a member of the BackBoard, so we know we're going to be seeing more of you.
It's my favorite time to go back and at my hometown lodge, they hold the local shoot there, and I think they even host districts now. But I always make sure to get back and try to rebound for the local competition, and then make it to our little awards banquet that we host after that. But also one of my favorite memories was, like you said, I made it to our regional competition in Iowa City one year, and I got to again rebound for the contestants and also spoke at the banquet. So it's like, okay, and it's funny because before the competition starts and at the breakfast, all the shooters are always so nervous and you're not wanting to talk to anybody. And I remember it myself, like I was like keeping to myself. And then it's funny after the competition is when you kind of let loose and you're able to talk and meet friends. And it's like, okay, I got to talk to these kids after they have competed, and it's time to have fun and make friends now. So that was really cool.
Well, you are a true hoop shoot triple threat. Speaker, rebounder, mentor, and we appreciate it.
There you go. There you go. I'm just happy to be a part of it.
All right, Laken, thank you very much and have a good rest of your day.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Laken.
thanks for having me. Same to you.
All right. Congratulations on your graduation and your new job too. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
So, Debbie, do you remember Laken as a?
I do, actually. I remember her because she was there 3 years in a row. We were, we always attended the finals back in Springfield, so I absolutely do remember her. And it was great to talk to her today. She's amazing.
She is, and it's just, it really speaks to the nature of the Hoop Shoot and the program, and those three words we always talk about, the Hoop Shoot family, right? How they stay connected with the Elks, and if we ask them, they want to give back. They want to be engaged.
Right, and I just love that both the Midgets and Laken are still connected, not only with their Elks Lodge, but with Elks in general.
Right, the friendships they've made along the road to the national finals were lasting friendships.
Yeah, it really it underscores the importance of the program and what the lifelong memories that people make.
Well, and then also when you talk
level.
about the developmental skills that they learned,
right.
and how the impact that the things that they've learned have had on their lives too. It really, it's a blow to have a year without a Hoop Shoot finals.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked so often about how heartbreaking that decision was. Obviously, it was necessary.
Right.
We probably don't need to say that anymore, but here we are. Without a year without a finals. We've been talking since March about what 2021 is going to look like, and here we are. It's August now, and I think that we should bring on our youth programs associate, Makenna to talk to us about the game plan for the season. Makenna?
Hey, Makenna, where are you right now?
I am sitting in the SIP office at the Memorial Building.
Wow, we're there too. How about that?
Yeah,
so
crazy.
So close yet
and
so
yet,
far.
That's the story of the pandemic.
Yes.
So close, but yet so far away.
Gee.
So it's been kind of a hectic couple of months for the Hoop Shoot program, wouldn't you say?
I would say there's been a lot of changes and just a lot of moving pieces.
We talked to you at length back on the Midday Minute back in early June. So if any of our viewers missed it and they want to catch up with that, they can go to our YouTube channel and they can watch that episode. But we're here to talk to you today about what our plans are going to be for the 2020-2021 season. We've got a game plan in place, and can you tell us what that is in 10 words or less?
Yeah, the short version is it's a shortened season with safety guidelines and new incentives. Just over. I think I squeezed in a couple extra.
Good. In longer form, what does that mean?
Longer form, it means that we'll be cutting off the season after the district contest this year. Okay. We'll also be offering some new incentives for those district winners as a result. And mandating some safety guidelines that are in line with CDC recommendations. All
right, so that kind of, summarizes what our thinking was when we decided to just limit the contests to lodge and districts, right? The CDC recommends that for youth programs, for youth sports, that there's no travel involved. And we think that by limiting to lodge and districts, right, that we're really kind of keeping travel to a minimum. So.
Right, we feel like we can provide a reasonably safe environment for the Hoop Shoot contest. There's not much contact. It's easy to social distance. The competitors are all alone at the free throw line except the line judge. So we feel like we can provide a safe environment. But as soon as you introduce travel and longer stays and events outside of the contest, it's harder to control what happens.
Right.
Plus, And you have people from different areas
Right.
coming to mingle and exchange germs.
Exactly. So why don't you kind of walk us through what we're thinking what a contest will look like in communities that are able to hold one? What kind of safety precautions are we going to put in place?
Right. Well, first and foremost, of course, we always say that the CDC guidelines and local mandates should be followed. So then on top of those items, we're looking at maintaining social distancing, so 6 feet apart for everybody within the space. We also want to make sure that everybody is sanitizing hands. So that includes contestants, attendees. We're going to ask for the rebounders and line judges to also sanitize hands between contestants. We're encouraging everyone to wear a mask, stay masked while you're participating and attending. We also want to limit shared items. That's where a lot of germs are spread. So we're asking that all participants bring their own basketball this year. So a regulation basketball for their age group and gender. The next thing we want to make sure is that the contests aren't forced. If you can't hold a contest, you don't think you can do it safely, there is no pressure to do so. We want to make sure that safety of our volunteers and participants is paramount this year.
Yeah, that was part of the thinking about limiting the contest to the district beyond the safety factors. It was if one area can't do the contest, but another can, that's not a big issue for stopping sort of locally.
Right, absolutely.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about why should kids get involved? We've been talking a lot about, of course, what the Hoop Shoot is and what the Hoop Shoot does, and we've talked to some past national finalists, so we've kind of established that. But for something like this, right, when you're only going to the district level, what's the incentive?
Right, because there's the travel is
Right.
is a
It's a big part of it.
popular selling point for the program, and we're taking that away.
Yeah. For a year without travel and without the national finals, for those kids to look forward to, we're looking at ways to keep them interested with kind of a prize raffle, so to speak. And so district winners would be put in the raffle and drawn for prizes, things like a cameo video from a Hall of Famer, or a signed basketball, some sort of connection with a Hall of Famer, talk to them, learn some things about how they operate. Some cool prizes, also iPads, which is everybody's favorite, I feel like. So just some really interesting and fun things.
Yeah, we have a marketing partnership with the Basketball Hall of Fame, and we plan to leverage that.
We will be leveraging that. And kind of just thinking about what Shane Midyett said, right? When kids are participating in a contest, they want to do the best they can do, no matter what that contest is, right?
Well, absolutely. We should not underestimate that motivation for these competitors. They want to be the best.
They want to be the
This year,
best.
the best means district champion, right?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And in usual times, in usual circumstances, which of course we know we are not in, we always have the finals. It's happening in April, and we work back from that, right? So lodge and district contests are happening in the fall, and the district contests usually happen early winter, December, January.
Right.
What are we doing about that?
Yeah, so this year, contests can go until March 31st. 2021. So we're extending that time period so that people have the chance to host their contest later than usual, if they would like to do so. For a lot of communities, it's not possible to do one in September or October, but maybe they'll be able to do it in January or February.
Right. There's a real domino effect. You have to have your event done before the state contest, which has to be done before regionals, which has to be done before the finals. But without those levels, there's more flexibility.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Speaking of March, you were actually on the road in mid-March when we were making the heartbreaking decision to cancel the remaining regionals and the finals. Tell us where you were then and what it was like to be, boots on the ground when this was all going down.
Oh yeah, so I was in Portland, Maine for the Region 6 New England semifinals. And to watch it unfold in person at the regional contest, it was very tough. Everyone was very heartbroken. There was a couple of, contestants there already with their families, and we had to break the news to them that unfortunately the season was going to be ending. But I'd have to say that the really strong, hardworking team out there in the New England area were just so supportive, and they completely understood the reasoning behind it, and were just ready to keep moving forward, which I think was awesome.
The same story played out in 2 other regional contests on that first Saturday of the regionals as well. They also had to cancel in real time.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it was all happening. It's all going down that weekend. So it was, I'm sure it took a lot of resolve to be there and to help get people through that. But like you said, everybody was resilient and understanding. So that's great.
Yes, exactly.
What's our hope for concluding the 2020 season?
Yeah, I mean, conditions willing, what we would like to see happen is to host the 2020 8 regional contests and national finals in the spring of 2021. So March and April of this coming year.
So the idea is we currently have 24 national finalists, right? The 4 regionals that were able to happen in that first weekend.
Right.
And we have 198 regional finalists who are in limbo right now. Right.
Exactly.
The idea is that there's a chance, a buzzer beater of a chance, that we can complete a contest in which there are only 222 competitors. A lot easier than we could complete something that we plan to start in the fall.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So
give everybody a chance.
No promises there, but at least that's what we're hoping. We'll continue to monitor, and that's
if it looks like it, having an in-person contest is not a possibility, is there a chance that we could try to finish that season virtually?
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely something we're looking into in using the technology I think that we've all kind of perfected during quarantine to make that a reality.
Well, thanks for being with us tonight, Makenna, and thanks for sharing the game plan with us. We really appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
So that's the game plan for the Hoop Shoot season. And I feel like, I know it seems a little odd for us to be saying that we're going to start a contest that's only going to go to the district level and at the same time hold out hope to finish this other contest. Like, why not do both? And it really comes down to, 2 points. As we said, the safety of our shooters, their families, the Elks volunteers, our staff, that's paramount, of course. But there's also practicality. We just don't believe that we can start a Hoop Shoot season and reach the typical finish line with everyone. We just don't think that's a possibility. And that's a problem. It's a problem that we would rather avoid, especially given all the safety arguments. But finishing 2020, again, it's a slim chance. It is a buzzer beater from 3/4 court, right? But there's only 222 competitors there. There's only 9 contests that would have to happen. The 8 regionals that we had to cancel, plus the national finals. We already have 24 from those 4 finished regionals. So, it's a slim shot, but it's a shot. And it would allow us to celebrate the Hoop Shoot with all the pageantry of the regionals and the national finals, everything that we all love. But also moving forward with the 2021 season in a sensible way.
Yeah, I think that you hit the nail on the head right there with saying sensible, right? Like, the game plan we came up with recognizes that there will be some communities in which it's going to be safe to go ahead and hold a contest.
Right.
And we want them to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
But for the communities that it's not safe to do so, that's going to be okay this year too.
And we don't want anybody to feel any shame or any guilt about not holding a Hoop Shoot contest where it doesn't make sense to hold one.
Right, and we're going to do our best to make sure that we're, offering additional engagement opportunities so that we're not forgetting the kids or the parents or the Elks.
Right. Well, and we're going to come out of this all right. The program is going to be just fine. It's going to come out of this stronger than ever.
Yeah.
So that was our Hoop Shoot show. We want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. We hope you've enjoyed the show. We will be back the week of August 23rd in some format. We're not exactly sure right now quite yet what that's going to look like, but keep an eye on the schedule. and we hope to see you then.
Good to see you. Thanks for watching.
Remember, if you've liked this episode, please give us a thumbs up. Feel free to share it far and wide with your social network. If you're not subscribing already to our YouTube channel, please consider hitting that button and tap the bell so you will be notified every time we post new content. Until then, thanks for tuning in.
Thanks. Thanks for watching tonight. It's no wonder tonight's show is about hard work and perseverance and resilience. The Elks are no strangers to being resilient. We've been around for more than 150 years. I think we've come up with a game plan for the 2021 season that's going to acknowledge everybody's participation in a way that can still be meaningful. If you can have a contest, great, but if you can't, it's okay too. We're going to offer opportunities that are going to keep kids engaged, parents engaged, and Elks engaged. Thanks so much for watching tonight. It was great to see you, and we'll see you soon. Bye.